All right, folks. So I guess technically this is my first YouTube video ever. I don't really exactly know how to start this, but I'm just gonna go for it anyways. 2020, as everybody knows, was a bit of a tough year for everybody. Not for everybody. Let's be realistic, but it's been a tough year for a lot of the population of planet Earth, and some people have really embraced it. Some people have taken the time, whether it be away from their jobs, whether it be in lockdown or whatever else, to create content, to better themselves, or anything else. And for a lot of people, it's just been a little bit of a spiral down into a bit of a depression. I kind of fall a little bit down the line on that. Um, I've had a lot more time. My job, the hours have been limited, which has been nice because I've been able to get out a little bit more. When I say get out a little bit more, I mean get out of my job a little bit more, see the daylight. Something which I haven't really done in the past. I've kind of been married to my job, and to be honest with you, I still am married to my job. It's it's something which I pride myself in, working hard, but also at the same time, it's a little bit, it's tough because if you give everything, just to one thing in your life, then you really overlook everything else in your life. So, I took 2020 as a time to dedicate myself to training for an Ironman triathlon. I'm not in shape to run an Ironman triathlon right now. I think in a couple of weeks, after having taken a couple of weeks off at the end of the year, I think by the end of January, I'd be ready to run a sprint triathlon, possibly an Olympic triathlon. I won't break any records. Nobody's gonna. Nobody besides my parents are going to be applauding me at the finish line. I'm just going to be a finisher. I'm just going to be another number in a triathlon. But last year, what I learned for myself was that you set a large target. And if you miss that target, you still end up achieving a lot. And if I had set my target at an Olympic triathlon level, that's all I would have aimed for. And if I failed at getting that, I'd be a lot worse off than I am right now. I wouldn't be nearly as happy. The biggest mistake I've made this past year is that I only really dedicated myself to one goal and one target, and that was my physical fitness, and how I dealt with that. I didn't set any savings goals. I did save money, but I didn't set any goals for it. I didn't set any social goals, and that's why I go right down the line. As I discussed before, I'm very proud of myself for what I've accomplished. I ran almost 1,400 miles last year. I hit numerous weekly, targets. I kept schedules and all the rest of it. I was really good about my nutrition for the first time in my life. And I was dedicated. I've never had a jawline. I have a jawline now. Always been a fat kid. Check. If only the lighting was a little bit better to check out the stretch marks. I'm not trying to show off my arms. Not that they're incredible to show off, but I have stretch marks everywhere. I'm covered in them. One point in my life, I was 275, but not like a nice and shape 275, nice fat 275, size 38, size 40, something along those lines. 6'2", so I could hide it well, and so I always just got away with it. And to be honest, I just lived my life like that. Ate what I wanted to eat, go to the gym, sometimes lift heavy weights. That's what guys do. We lift heavy weights. And I got to the tender age of 29, and, for most of my adult life, I haven't been happy. So, the commitment, the recommitment to, no, not even the recommitment, that's a bold-faced lie. The commitment to my physical health has greatly aided my mental health. Having said that, I still have failed last year. I think that that's an important message for people, for everybody, is it's possible to succeed in goals and still look at a year as a failure, but still be proud of what you've accomplished. I think that's important for everybody to know, especially myself. Sometimes I get really down, and it's very easy to think about all the negatives. In my life, I've had no steady relationships, lack of friends, whatever it may be, But instead of doing that, while I'm doing that, I just go out and go for a run, and then stick it right into the back of the locker, and I forget about it. It's that sandwich you find at the end of the year, at the end of 8th grade, green and moldy. You thought maybe you threw away, but you just never did. It's just sitting and festering there. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is that I'm going to go ahead and start making these videos for people, sharing my goals, sharing my aspirations, sharing my targets. It's not for motivation for you. It's for motivation for me. It's to keep me honest to myself. I'm not here trying to be. I was posting my workouts this summer, and some of my friends laughed at me and they said, "Why? You're just doing this to show off." I'm not doing it to show off. I'm doing it for motivation for myself. We all need our self motivation, and whatever. I'm not here for you. I am, and I hope that I reach some people, because I could have used this life lesson a long time ago. But I'm also here for myself. So, having said all of that, I sort of rambled for the first 7 minutes. I'm not really sure where I started, but I am sure that I got here. So I've taken this year, I've gotten myself into some podcasts, I've got myself into a couple of books, I've started following some people. There's some great motivation out there. It's anything. So I started following Nick Bare Fitness this year. I mean, what a great source. That was the motivation for the Ironman. I'm watching a series right now on YouTube. It's excellent motivation. If you're not subscribed to his channel, you should subscribe to his channel. Noel Molke, I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce his first name. An Ironman, a legit Ironman who recovered from, I believe it was a heroin addiction, like 5 years ago or 6 years ago. I mean, could you beat that inspiration? Chris Nikic, the first person with Down syndrome. Forget man, first person with Down syndrome to complete an Ironman triathlon. There's there's a documentary out there about him. I mean, what an inspiration. Andrew Schultz, great comedian, just dropped a 4-part series for the end of the year on Netflix. Has a podcast. I've gone all the way back. I'm in 2009 back on his podcast. Haven't signed up for the Patreon yet. At some point I probably will, because I've listened to it. It's funny, I've listened to his message backwards from when he got big to when he wasn't. You have to admire the dedication, the hours of work that he's put in, and consistently the same message. I've even drawn inspiration from Bert Kreischer finishing 1,000 miles this year. He jokes around a lot, he drinks a lot, he has a lot of fun, but man, he said he was going to finish 1,000 miles running this year, and the guy finished 1,000 miles running this year. Not only that, but he toured throughout the entire pandemic. I mean, all of these things are inspirational. You can get your inspiration from anything. It could be me, it could be them, it could be your own source of inspiration. But whatever it is that keeps you going, you have to keep going at it. I'm going to make one more point, and then I'm going to end my first ever YouTube video. I'm not sure exactly how much. You know what? Pretty sure nobody's going to watch this video, and I'm fine with that, because I will keep posting. All right, 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week. I don't care what it is, until I get some message out there, and I get one person that says thank you. That's all I'm looking for. And I'm saying thank you for posting it, just saying it was great to hear somebody else who struggled and to see how they came through it, or are trying to come through it, because believe you me, I am still struggling. Day in and day out, I struggle. But I'm just going to make one more point, and it's a bit of a story. So please bear with me. I have an acquaintance, I wouldn't even call him an acquaintance, it's somebody I met 9 years ago, 10 years ago. It's a friend of a friend whose college I went to go visit one time, twice, or maybe 3 times. I don't even remember. It's back in the days when I used to drank a little too much. Don't remember how many times. Anyways, I digress. About a year and a half ago, she posted something on Facebook. Now, this is a person that consistently posts statuses that discuss mental health and how she is currently feeling at that moment, asking people to help her, asking people to send her funny things. So her post read something along the lines of, anybody that's a runner, could you, give me some, clues about, running. So I've followed her, but not really followed. I've seen her posts over the years. So immediately, I know I've been in her situation. I've dealt a lot with depression, mental health, just trying to dig yourself out of a hole that you just never feel like you can dig yourself out of. And every time you get to that point where you just feel like, I don't want to say, I don't want to go too far and say like you can't go any further, but there are just times when you hit a despair. I shouldn't say her, I shouldn't say anybody. For myself, I just felt these moments of utter despair where I felt as if there was nothing I could do, and all I just wanted to do was stay inside with the lights off, watch TV, order food, more recently smoke a bunch of weed while doing it, and just enjoy my cave. So in those moments, after a day or two, you inevitably go to Google, the answer to everything in life, and you type into the Google search bar, I'm feeling depressed. How do I get better? So take a second, type that into the Google search bar now, so that way you know that I'm not going to lie to you here. Number 1 on every list is go outside and get fresh air. Number 2 is go for a walk or a run. So I knew in that moment that she had looked up the same exact things that I had looked up. And what she was looking for was a way to get out of a moment of depression, of deep depression. So I actually reached out, and I never do this, I keep to myself. I think I have a tendency to think that, despite the fact that I love to talk, in these situations, I never think a stranger wants to hear my opinion. But it took a moment, and I reached out, and I wrote her something, and basically what I said to her was, I have a feeling that you're writing this status not because you want to become a runner, but because you're dealing with some issues and you're struggling right now. So I said, I recently took up running, and it's really helped me considerably to, free my mind. A lot of it, I think, is just getting outside. I work in a restaurant, so seeing daylight is very important to me, and I think that was a big part for me. But what I said to her is, if running's for you, running's for you. But if it's not, find something that's right for you, and most importantly, is talk about it. Just talk about it with everybody, right? Until they're sick of it. I bet you that there's maybe 1 or 2 people in my actual life, of 100 people that I see on a regular basis, that give 2 shits about the fact that I am trying to train for an Ironman triathlon. But I still talk about it, because if I keep talking about it, then I hold myself accountable, but also, it instills that is the thing for me. So maybe yours is something else. But find it and talk about it. Research it and figure out what you can do to make yourself better at it. Talk to other people about it, because it's one of those things where, I learned about, Heart Rate Zone 2 training this year. And that was a whole 2 weeks of conversation, but nobody else around me knows about it. So it's kind of cool to teach them about it. But also at the same time, I kind of feel as if I have a little secret. And, you know, I just learned it. So if I just learned it, then other people don't know it. And so, like, I feel as if I'm, you know, adding to their lives by talking about it, even though I'm probably not, and people find me very annoying. But if you can find something that you enjoy doing, or something that makes you happy while you're doing it, then do it and talk about it. And if you talk about it a lot, then it's just going to continue to bring more joy into your life. Whereas if you just do it and you keep it a secret and that's it, you just go about your day, maybe it brings you happiness, maybe it doesn't. But if you make your life about it, to a certain extent, not 100% of your life, but if you make yourself about it and you dedicate yourself to it, and you dedicate your aspect, your not your every waking, living, breathing second of your life, but if you dedicate a lot and a lot of your conversations to it, then you really live it, and it will really help you. So I guess that's my piece of advice for today, for my first video. My name's Daniel, by the way, for anybody out there that's actually watching this. My first installation of some form of YouTube video podcast type of deal. They're probably going to range from anything from what I did for training to, you know, some funnier, lighthearted ones. I think I'm funny. Don't know if everybody thinks that way about me, but at least I do. So I will try some jokes out here every once in a while. I'm going to just give it a go and see what happens with this channel. But I just, you know, for anybody that's out there watching this, I just want to let you know that you're not the only person that struggles in life. And, you know, you can continue doing what you're doing, which is what I did for 29 years, or you can work on improving yourself. So I know a lot of people, you know, my generation are in this position, you know, around the same age. So I'm going to spend this, whatever amount of time that I possibly can this year, and I'm going to dedicate myself to trying to improve myself and trying to help others as well improve with me. Thank you very much for anybody out there watching this, and stay tuned for the next video. Thanks so much.